PM Express. My name is Stephen Anti, your regular host. Tonight we're going to talk about energy, and we'll keep our focus on the Bui Dam. Now, the Bui Dam has been on the drawing board since the 1960s, when Ghana's largest dam, the Akosombo Dam, was built further downstream of the Volta River. By 1978, the planning for the Bui Dam had advanced to such an extent that we received support from Australia and the World Bank. However, 4 military coups during the time stalled the plans, and Ghana began at the time in 1978 to experience energy rationing, which has persisted since then. Now, in 2002, the project was revived. An international call for tender was issued, but only a single company submitted a bid, and the tender was cancelled. In 2005, however, the Chinese company Sino Hydro submitted an unsolicited bid for the dam together with funding from the Chinese Exim Bank. The government accepted the bid, and the Ministry of Energy signed contracts for the environmental impact assessment in December 2005, as well as an updated feasibility study in 2007. So this just gives you a snapshot of how the Bui Dam concept was given birth to. And moving on, where we are today, I have with me in the studio tonight the director. Is it the Assistant Director of Communications? I want to get your title correct.
Assistant External Relations
Officer. Assistant External Relations Officer for the Bui Power Authority, Max Mawuli. Mawuli Fui Kwajovia. Forgive me if I pronounce your name wrongly. And later on, we'll make attempts to get onto the phone line to speak with Guzi Tano, who is an energy expert who has had considerable experience with the Bui Dam project for a number of years. My name is Stephen Antia. You're welcome. You can join us by text 1760. You can post your Facebook comments on our Facebook walls, facebook.com/joynewsontv. We're on Twitter, active on Twitter as well. You can send us tweets at our handle, Joy News on TV, at Joy News on TV, I beg your pardon. So welcome to the show, Maoli. So Bui Dam and the energy formula, where does it put us? I mean, we know that the discussion has been on rationing of power and then lack of adequate power supply due to challenges with West Africa gas pipeline. For years, we have not, as a country, been able to sustain and maintain our energy needs. And now comes Bui Dam. So walk us through where this dam and the power that will be generated from there will leave us, you know, in the frame of things.
Okay, and thank you, Stephen, for having me. Indeed, the Bui Power Authority came through an act of parliament in 2007 act, and then that's brought into fruition the Bui Power Authority, which has the core duty to manage and execute the Bui hydroelectric project. The project, as we speak now, has progressed steadily. We are at a stage nearing completion of the project, and barring any unforeseen circumstances, we should be able to complete the project by the end of the second quarter of this year.
Which is exactly what, when you say end of the second quarter, what should Ghanaians be looking up to? What date do we have
I'm looking at June, July, where that will be the peak season for the rains. Currently, we have the reservoir. Our reservoir has water of 169.8 meters above sea level. That's the current state of the water reservoir. We need a minimum of 168 meters above sea level, and then a maximum operating level of 183 meters above sea level. So looking at this tentative period, we hope that water will rise in the dam and we'll be able to generate power at the time. However, in the interim, with the current level of the water, what we'll be doing somewhere in March has to do with commissioning and then testing. In engineering terms, when commissioning and testing, it doesn't mean commissioning as in showcasing the project, but this has to do with 6 weeks of testing of units and then all the various installations that have been done on the project. From your research, know that the Bui Dam is a huge one. Although huge, we are producing 400 megawatts of power, and we have 3 units, and each unit is producing 133 megawatts of
expected
power.
to produce, right?
It's expected, yeah, that's the maximum. Yeah, each unit is producing 133 megawatts. So when you multiply by 3, you have 399, by approximately 400 megawatts. In a year, we'll be producing 969 gigawatts of power. Yeah.
Okay, so you've spoken a lot about what you expected to supply and the fact that the Bui Dam was regulated by an act of parliament. Let's get to basics. Tell us which stage of construction is the Bui Dam, and are Ghanaians, you know, too optimistic to hope that when the Bui Dam kicks in, hopefully in June, July, as you say, our problems will be solved?
Well, the debates have been raging on as to whether we have enough energy supply. It's all due to consumption of or the demand out there. We could have so much energy, but it all borders on demand. I was listening to your newly refurbished, if I recall it that way, Super Money Show that dealt a bit with energy, and then when we also came in, and indeed the point has been made that it all has to do with consumption. We could have as much. Currently, our energy needs are not really up to the point that would want to have it. So we coming on stream just going to add to the national grid so that in our peak periods, we should be able to have some power. One would ask, would this eliminate completely the problems of doomsor that we currently going through? No, it wouldn't, but it will actually augment it to the lowest minimum.
Okay, so we have a couple of photos. You can walk us through what these are, what stage of construction work this was, if you can recall, and then walk us through stage by stage as they come.
Yeah, as you can see clearly, that's the stage where the foundation stage, we're now diverting the river. You can see that there's a channel on your left side. That's where the river is diverted through. So that's the foundation stage of the project, where there has been a lot of excavation works. Yeah. This is the reservoir, which I told you.
Just spoke
yes,
about.
that the minimum we need for operating is 168 meters above sea level. On the left of the reservoir, you can see 3 high rides on this side. That's the intakes, and on the right, you have what we call the spill gates or the spill bays. Yeah, and there are 5 in all. The spill bays, as you know, are the gates when we have excess water, not to topple the dam would be. Yeah. Now that's the Bui Gorge, the plain area when we actually first went to the area. That's how the place looked like.
I see. So at this stage, it was just the bare,
the bare
Bui Gorge.
And that's the black water and intro.
So the point is that what considerations were put into place to determine whether that gorge will be suitable for power generation?
Yeah, for every.
And then this is another side of
this is one of the advanced stages we've gotten. We've actually gone past one of the stages. For every bridge, ours is a gravitational dam, and that the gorge, which in between which you have the black water flowing, serves as an armrest for the bridge. It gives it support.
Okay.
Yeah, that gives it support. So the positioning of the dam is actually between the gorge, is actually to have the dam rest its arms or shoulders on the gorge. So that has been a subject of study, as you rightly stated from your initial comment, for several years by J.S. Zook, and then Snow White from Canada and other places. Yeah.
Okay, so we just looked at pictures really, and I wanted you to walk us through stage by stage where you've reached. So let me make it simple. Let's start with well, we have the pictures back again.
Okay.
Maybe we can talk through.
Gorge.
Yeah, that's the gorge that you spoke about.
Yes, yeah.
So this was when construction work has not started at all.
This is where the feasibility stage
and
is.
this is the river itself.
Yeah, the Black Volta.
The Black Volta. Yeah. Okay. And this is a part of construction
site? Yeah, construction at work, as you can see. Yeah, we've gone past all the stages now. That's an installation stage. They're installing the rotor in there.
Right. So when we look at these construction works, maybe quickly, are you content with the quality of work that have been provided by the contractors so far?
Yeah, indeed. The project, if you look at our structure, we as an authority have the supervisory role over Sino Hydro, that's a Chinese firm, that's the main contractor. And then on the other side, we have Corneille Belair. Those are the consulting partners who also helps in supervisory and advisory role as well. So the project actually is being monitored carefully, and then we ensure that all the processes, due diligence and all the various processes are taken through carefully.
What kind of due diligence? You know, we live in a country where our maintenance culture is very poor. I mean, we shouldn't mince words about that. So when construction work of this nature is ongoing, you have to...
Well, these are highly qualified. These are highly qualified engineers. My own boss, Mr. Jabish Misata, you know, is a mechanical engineer with more than 25 years experience at the VRA, where he rose to the rank of a deputy CEO before he veered off into private service and then back into public service. You have the deputy director, Mr. Akest, who is on secondment from the Volta River Authority, an experienced engineer as well. Then you have the resident engineer, Mr. Safokisi. So these are highly qualified people on the job. Corneille Belair, as I mentioned, has been one of the consulting partners, has been in the business of constructing dams and other things, and they are one of the best when it comes to dam construction.
Okay, so when we talk about the main dam, the spillway and power intakes, your records indicate that you are 99% complete.
Sure.
What exactly does 99% complete mean in terms of the actual work that we're supposed to see on the ground?
Yeah, this has to deal with the concrete casts and then and some installations as well. I'll take you through the concrete cast. We use what we call the RCC, which is a roller compacted concrete. It's different from the normal cement that we use in our homes. Indeed, if you paid a visit to the Bui dam, you see what we have called the batching plant, where we mix various aggregates, which consist of sand, silt, and other chemicals to actually form our concrete. So in all, we are casting 1 meters cube of concrete, and then we have done that to the point of 99%. So we just have a few more castings to do to have the full erection of what we want. When you talk about the powerhouse, we can talk about installation of the tail race. The tail race is the last exit point where, after the water has gone through the 3 intakes, down through the penstocks, to the spiral case, then to the turbines where the mechanical energy from the water is generated, then to the generator which generates the mechanical, which turns the mechanical energy to electrical energy. The water goes through what we call the draft tube, then down to the tail race. And that is also about 75% complete. Then you talk about installation of electromechanical equipment, and this has to do with the rotor, the stator, the generator, the wicket gates, and several other components of the project. And that's about 76% complete as well. Then also we can talk about the saddle dams. The saddle dams are to serve as a reservoir for the dam, in that these are supposed to hold water when we are in crisis. They are supposed to block water. It's actually a gaping hole that we couldn't afford to leave open, or else we'll be losing all the water. So we needed to fill this place up. So we've just finished with saddle dam 1. So that's 100% complete, and then we've moved to saddle dam 2, and that has just begun. And we are sure before somewhere by the middle of the first quarter, we should be done, or we should be way ahead of that. Then also we have another main component of the project being a downstream bridge, which is linking the two regions together. I mean, the Brong-Ahafo region and the northern region. It is important here to note that there has been discussion as to where exactly is the Bui Dam and where it's located. The Bui Dam, the only boundary for the Bui Dam is the Black Water. The Black Water actually divides Brong-Ahafo region and then the northern region. So we have constructed a permanent bridge, and that is 98% complete. We are now doing dressing of the rails, and then that will link the two communities to one way or the other. After the Adomi Bridge and the other bridges, this bridge is another important bridge linking the two.
Right. So at this stage of construction work, how much money has been pumped into the Bui Dam so far?
You would note that so far we've used $622 million, and then we needed an additional funding, and we need about 168.4.
And where is that going to come from to ensure that you
this
finish?
This is coming from the
Government of Ghana?
Government of Ghana is responsible for $60 million.
Out of the 168,
yeah, that's the 10% of it
remaining.
Yes, and you notice largely that part of this money is money that has gone into what we call contingency, things that were not really envisaged to be part of the.
For example?
For example, we are now doing a road diversion that is taking some money, and then some other works that we needed to do for a smooth completion of the project. So all these things are contingencies that.
What about resettlement of the indigents?
Yeah,
before
resettlement.
Were they part of expenditure you budgeted for?
Yes, resettlement has been taken care of. We are 100% complete in terms of that. We resettled.
But there are people who still feel that they've not been well compensated, and for which reason they are even worried that after the project is completed and the engineers leave site, that will be the end of their cry for compensation.
Well, it's important to know which people or which aspect of the project of those who are complaining, because as at last year, we had paid compensation to people affected by works at the dam site, the inundated area. It's interesting that I do not have those videos here with me, but the Bui Dam, where we have the Bui Dam, used to be a community. We have communities of people of 6 and more, people from Agbekikro.
You mean 6 communities?
6 communities. Lucene, Akanyakrom, Batokrom, and Bato, are people from the Volta region who had gone there for their fishing activities. So all these communities have been resettled from where we have the Bui Dam now. So when you are resettling these people, you need to move them and then pay compensations as well. So far we've paid crop compensation to these people, these communities.
How much money have you paid in compensation?
In compensation, we've
crop
paid
compensation. You said.
Crop compensation.
So that if people's lands didn't have crops,
if you
on them, you don't pay.
Yeah, if you had allowed me to finish my point, you could know that the compensation was in 3 parts. These are people affected who are inundated by the river, people whose crops have been affected, and then people whose houses have been affected. So these are 3 categories of compensation we've paid. And in all, we've paid over 1.1 million Ghana cedis. What we are yet to pay is to those who have been affected mostly by our transmission lines. We are stringing 4 lines from the Bui switchyard. This is going to Bui Tesalima, Bui Sola. We have Techiman, Kintampo, and Sunyani. You might have heard in the news somewhere. It's just funny that for the past 2 weeks we've been in the news.
Yeah.
Last week when the news.
It's not funny. I mean, it's serious business.
Well, it's serious business.
I mean, we need energy.
We are normally behind the scenes doing our work, but we are not the type that would always want to come on air to talk. But it's good that when some of these things crop up, we come and then respond to them. So last week there were issues as to compensation to be paid to people affected by our transmission lines in Kintampo, where we are constructing a 70 kilometers transmission line. And so that is actually being taken care of. The Lands Valuation Division of the Land Commission.
Are these overhead lines or underground lines?
These are overhead lines.
So, I mean, all communities where these overhead lines pass are not usable. They have to evacuate from at least 100 meters away from the high tension cables.
Exactly. So what we have actually done is that we are stringing these lines, and then all these farmers who have been affected, anyone who may be affected, will be paid some compensation. So currently, the Lands Valuation Division of the Land Commission have done their valuations, and that has been subjected to, forwarded to the Ministry of Energy for an forward to the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning.
So what will be your overall assessment of completed work so far? I mean, give me in terms of percentage. You've given me a breakdown that the main dam, spill and power intakes are 99% complete. The powerhouse civil works 99%, and installation of mechanical equipment 76% complete. But overall, when you lump all of this, these together, you're looking at total completion percentage of how much?
That's quite difficult.
Low, right? Like
no, it's not
overall,
low.
you're about 50%.
No, we are more than that. We are close to 85% complete.
85%
complete. Yeah.
So how many workers did you work with to be sure that this happened? I mean, the workers must have played a crucial role in ensuring that this completion rate you have occurred. I mean, how many workers, were employed by the Bui Power Authority too?
Well, for the Bui Power Authority, our current staff, we are around about 130 people. Just September last year, we had actually trained engineering technicians who are actually going to man this dam when completed. And it's important here to know that the dam will be run on 100% local content, as in would not have we'll have little
expert
workforce
expertise.
Exactly in the running.
But tell me how many Chinese experts?
Yeah, I was coming
came
to,
on with the Sino-Hydro.
Yeah, so we are the main employers. Now I'd already told you about Sino-Hydro.
Like 130, you said, right?
Yeah, 130. That's our current workforce in terms of the Bui Power Authority. When you look at Sino-Hydro, I cannot speak for Sino-Hydro, but what I can say is that they have various workers working for them. There are several parts of the project that have been subcontracted, and there are several other people working. So you might hear Sino-Hydro, but they have subcontractors all around the project. So I cannot ask to now quantify the number, but they should be in the excess of 600 and going.
They have about 600 workforce, which are all Ghanaians?
Some are Pakistanis.
So
but majority largely are Ghanaians. There are some are Chinese also working for them. Some are Chinese.
Okay, so the reason I'm asking you about this workforce is of the agitation of the workers. What are the workers demanding from you, really? Well, you've not been paying them, or they want an increment from what you pay them already? What exactly is the problem for these agitations?
Let me also let me be quick to add that these are workers directly employed by Sino-Hydro. That's our main contractor. So Sino-Hydro are those directly in charge of them and are supposed to take care. This is due to running up of the project. And as you know, in the life of every project, there's a beginning stage and then there's an ending stage. So we are coming to the completion of the project. So hence the need for the completion of for the layoff of some workers. So that has started in stages by Sino-Hydro. So the layoff has come with issues of payments of.
So the problem is that there have been layoffs as a result of anticipation of the end of the project, which is a natural sequence of contract that they might have signed.
Yes, sure.
So they don't have any beef really agitating.
Well, the agitations has to do with the amount being paid as severance package, and then also other issues regarding wages and all.
You
that.
cannot walk us through the figures, can you?
Well, no, I am not in that position to talk.
All right, we'll take some messages that are coming in from our viewers from across the country and elsewhere across the continent. You can still send us yours. Text 1760. You can post your Facebook comments on our Facebook walls, facebook.com/Joy News on TV, and you can send us a tweet at Joy News on TV as well. Alukos from Tamale, you say that the Bui Dam project needs to be revamped and be completed to augment the deplorable energy needs of the country. This is a national asset and a jewel in the crown. So politicians must stop playing politics with this project. Alukos, we haven't spoken politics about this yet, and we appreciate the need for this project to come full stream so that we can resolve some of our teething energy problems that we are facing as a country. And Khalid, you say, Steve, please ask the gentleman, what will be the effect of the Bui Dam in respect to the Akosombo Dam, since both take their source from the north? This is a critical question. I mean, the Akosombo Dam is downstream the Volta River, whilst the Bui Dam is upstream.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that when the Bui Dam is fully functional, Akosombo Dam will suffer?
No, it wouldn't. In the sense that we are not blocking the water from flowing. This is a flowing river. When you come to the project site currently now, we're still channeling water down through what we call an ecological dam, which is still to supply those downstream who rely on the river for their livelihood. What we actually do with the water is that we need the water through our turbines to generate power, and then it goes downstream. So we only use the water in our equipment and then release it downstream. So it will still flow, and then tributaries entering.
But you would agree that, I mean, it makes logical sense. I'm not even talking about the scientific sense, because I have no clue.
Yeah.
I mean, the logical sense is that the river flowing from upstream is coming. You tap it, you use it. Definitely the speed will reduce, and then it will mean that the outflow from your end will not have the same energy and quantity that there would have been if the Bui Dam was not planted in the way of the water flow.
No, I don't think so, because if you pay visits to our dam even this evening, you will see the water we are gushing out. What I told you is an ecological dam. This is not going to affect those downstream at all.
Okay, right. So let's continue. Jonila Laye, you say that this project is very important to us as a nation. The Ghanaian manufacturer is suffering because the cost of energy alone drains their savings. We hope this will be a quick relief. And Justice Kofi Odikro says that please ask the public relations officer if the workers would have gone on demonstration had they been treated fairly, PR redundancy or not. The workers' redundancy or not, the workers must be respected and treated fairly, just as the top officials. Thanks very much, Chief Justice Kofi Odikro. And Good Science says both ECG and VRA have their hands tied. This government has no focus after elections. We're back to load shedding. Unfortunately, we don't have a government rep or political party rep to respond to this. But that's your view, Good Science, and thank you very much. And then Togbiga Kwakuvi Wemega, such a long name, you say that I don't understand the mentality of the black man. Can there be any means of harvesting the rains and even the water from the Burkina Faso anytime they open their dam? I think we should stop complaining about power shortage if we're not ready to learn from past mistakes. It is time to put our minds to work in doing the best to make our country a better place. So Maoli, you heard these comments.
Yeah.
Quickly, let's run through the ones we talk about. The ECG and the VRA have their hands tied. I know you are only responsible as a Bui Power Authority to generate the power. So after you have generated, who will be responsible for transmission and distribution, just as
just like
Gridco does in the power mix of VRA?
Just like VRA does, generates the power and then gives to Gridco, and then Gridco transmits to ECG, and then ECG sends to our homes. It's the same way with the Bui Power Authority also. We'll be generating the 400 megawatts of power that will be injected into the national grid, and that will be carried by GridCo, and then GridCo also to ECG, and then that way, yeah.
So that's how you're going to do. So it will still be GridCo.
Yeah, sure.
No new power distribution.
Well, it depends
agency.
on.
I mean, because VRA, the VRA was not given the sole responsibility of managing the Bui Power Authority. Why so?
VRA given
VRA. I mean, we have the Bui Power Authority,
yeah.
Instead of VRA possibly taking over the Bui transmission itself. But why was it so? Why wasn't VRA the main authority to still take charge of Bui Dam construction and power generation? An entirely new authority was set up.
Well, I think it all has to deal with.
You don't know, right? I mean,
no,
because you're thinking. So
no, not that I'm thinking. But what I want to say basically is that this actually affords a new or some form of competition in the industry.
More like VRA was not performing to scratch. So
well, I wouldn't want to say that.
Couldn't commit.
No. I wouldn't want to say that. As I said,
yeah.
my CEO comes from VRA with 25 years of experience, and many of the things he's bringing onto the project now were from VRA.
All right,
so it's a new baby altogether. Let's manage Bui Power Authority and see how.
Right. Okay. Well, this is PM Express. We're live on your Joy News channel on your multi TV. Now, I must say that at 1 a.m. Tomorrow morning, 1 a.m., multi TV will go off briefly for like 30 minutes to an hour for maintenance. So if you're watching then, you'd have to just be patient and not tamper with your equipment during the period of maintenance. We'll be right back immediately after the maintenance works have been done. We'll take a short break from PM Express, and when we return, we'll delve more into the worker agitations at the Bui Power Authority and the community resentments and other challenges that are raising their ugly head towards the completion of this very important national strategic project. Stay. Welcome back to PM Express. Tonight we're discussing the Bui Power Authority and the issues arising from construction work, worker agitation, among others. Now, I said earlier that we would like to inform our cherished viewers that we will go off air around 1 a.m. this morning for routine maintenance. I mentioned that we'll be off for about 30 minutes to 1 hour, but no, that's not true. That's not exactly what it is. We'll be off for just about 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes of routine maintenance. So around 1 a.m. Tomorrow morning, do not tamper with your digibox if you see that you're going off air. We'll be off air just about 10 to 15 minutes. So welcome back to PM Express. You can still send us your text messages 1760 or post your comments on our Facebook walls, facebook.com/JoyNewsOnTV. Send a tweet also at JoyNewsOnTV. That's our Twitter handle. So back to you, Mauli. We do know that the construction of the dam, you mentioned, affected like 4 communities, but this is up to about 1,216 people in total. So have you completely resettled all of these people, and where did you move them to?
Yeah, we actually had a resettlement site built for them, and here we had 2 bedrooms with a kitchen, toilet, and then a living room constructed, and then we moved the various communities. Initially, the movement was not an easy thing. We all know when you have been at a place for a very long time, movement become a problem. So we engaged. One of the issues that came up, why they were reluctant to go initially, what we had to do was the issue of leaving their natural habitat and leaving their ancestors who they have buried there. So we engaged the services of the archaeological department of the University of Ghana, who actually did some salvage archaeology one, keeping record of what will be lost or not, and then also help in the way of removing the corpses. I mean, excavating the mortal remains of key ancestors for these communities to be sent to the new sites.
So this is very strange to me. I mean, their movement became a problem because they wanted to move with their dead people.
Yes.
With the people that have been buried some 40, 30 years
or
ago.
More. Yeah, yeah.
Or more.
Yes, it's important, and for us that Africans who believe in the spirit of the dead still living with us, we still want to them to live with us, and so that was a belief of the community that they can't leave their ancestors behind. That have always been for them. So if they are moving, they have to. So we engage the services of the archaeological department of the University of Ghana, and they carry the salvage archaeology. So key ancestors were identified, and those were.
How many? Would you know? How many were excavated? And I mean,
for each of the communities, we had about 6 communities.
Key people.
Yeah, key people
who died several years.
Several years were identified, and then these were actually taken to the new site. So that happened, and then initially they didn't know, and then another concern has to be do with their livelihood, since they relied mainly on the dam, and then they are farmers and fishermen. What are they going to do at the new site? So then again, we had to find a place for them to continue their farming activities, and then those who are
you had to find. It means that were you talking about lands? Are you talking about lands or water bodies? I mean, if they are fisher folks.
Yeah, still some of the fisher folks still carry their fishing activities. Fishing activities. Just last week, last 2 weeks, the CEO has actually cut short for the construction of a how do you call it, a landing site, which will actually help them in fishing and other activities, actually to regulate fishing, to control the right type of gears to use and all that. So that is also ongoing, and we expect that to be completed in 2 months. So we had to identify an area to demarcate for the various communities for those who want to. And then we also paid compensation or what we call livelihood enhancement packages for them. Once you are moving them, you don't expect them to pick up immediately. They will need time to settle, so we pay them some money monthly. What we call the monthly income for some time. It depends on the number.
For how long will this?
This lasted for a year.
For a year, okay.
Yeah, this lasted for a year. So we are done with that also. And then, as I told you last year, we paid compensations to them also, depending on the crops that we have destroyed at the construction site and the farms that we have.
Let's talk a little bit about this landing site that you refer to. What exactly is this landing site supposed to do?
Yeah, as I said, the landing site is supposed to actually regulate the activities of the fishermen, to tell them the best practices for fishing. Their parameters, so far as the 444 kilometers square reservoir is concerned, there are limits as to how far they could come to fish and not to attempt coming closer to the dam. So the landing site is actually to support them and to increase their livelihood.
What about animals? I mean, the Bui Dam will flood about 20% of the Bui National Park, and it will impact its habitats. There are rare black hippopotamus there as well. You know, the native wildlife species. What happens to all of that?
3 months ago, last year, we did what we call the animal rescue, together with the wildlife division of the Forestry Commission. And then they did some, how do you call it?
Feasibility studies or what?
They actually rescued animals
and moved them to new
higher,
environment.
and then higher grounds. So we have done this and to save some of them. The hippos, you still see some. There's one currently in front of the dam, which you see once. I've just seen it once last year, and it's actually a great excitement, which will actually bring about some ecotourism somewhere in the future. But some have moved upstream as well. Yeah.
So what was all these considerations made? These considerations, were they made during feasibility studies for the construction of the dam and even up to the advanced state?
Yeah.
Did you really plan what to do with this wildlife species?
Yeah, this was actually planned.
Because if you're talking about one black hippo, I know that area it's a habitat for these rare black hippos and monkeys and others. So if you've only seen one, then it means possibly you've driven them into extinction.
No, we haven't. What I've said is that they have moved upstream. You know, the reservoir has formed, so it's so big, and these hippos dwell in the water. So due to the construction, they themselves have found a place up there. And then I only give an example of one that I have seen, because one of the things that you hear people when the Bui Dam is mentioned is hippos. So I've seen just one ever since I got employed at the Bui Power Authority. I wanted to mention something else, but it escaped me. But let's continue.
Right. So let me refresh your memory a bit. I mean, we've spoken quite extensively about how much power we're expecting from the Bui Dam, the challenges of relocating the people, resettling them. Yeah. In all, how many two-bedroom apartments did you construct to accommodate all the 1,216 people? You built an entire community?
Yeah, we built an entire community.
With schools and hospitals and clinics?
We have clinics. We have a school built by us. We have a kindergarten, and then we have a football field for the school children. And then recreation. And then we have a clinic that's not operational yet, but we have one actually that has been refurbished at Jama. Jama is on the northern side of the project, and then this place have their clinic refurbished by us. They already also had a school, so we refurbished that as well. And then the one at the Bui Resettlement, which we call Resettlement Part B, is not yet operational, but we have adjoining communities that has clinics that the people visit.
So apart from these challenges you've told us about, were there any challenges which the authority faced in the initial construction and resettlement? I mean, any peculiar challenges at all you would like Ghanaians to understand?
Yeah, the major has to do with the movement of the people, because, as I said...
That was really a big deal, because they're moving with their dead.
Exactly. Not just moving with their dead, leaving their dead behind, and then what kind of life are they going to have? It's just human that if you are moving someone, even myself, if you want to move from where I live now to another...
So where do you live now? You don't live at Bui, right? You live there?
Yeah, I commute from Accra office and then the site office.
So you haven't lost much. I mean, you haven't been forcibly removed from your natural environment.
Well, DT, because I can go to site even this evening from
right. So I mean, on a serious note, these people have lived all their lives around this catchment area, and so moving them will be difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, new markets. You need a place they can really feel comfortable.
Yeah, we've built that as well.
You built a market.
Yeah, we've built a market for them as well. Somewhere this weekend we will be going back. I'll be going back with a team from the Department of Archaeology, University of Ghana, Dr. Waziapo and Dr. Gavois, to actually preview this documentary that was done when we did the excavation of the corpse, and then the artifacts that were found and all that to the community, so they can have a first-hand appreciation of what that project was and then how far they've come as a community.
Okay, Molly, I have a couple more messages, and I think we'll read through some of them, and if there are questions, we can throw them to you. Ishmael Awini, you say that with 99% completion, it is obvious that some categories of workers would no longer be required in their numbers. The authority must prepare such workers psychologically prior to termination of the relationship. This agitation is normal in all forms of termination of relationships. Well, I don't know, you've written something which roughly translates that the beginning is always sweeter than the end, I'm told. Sabo, Nada, Daddy, Rabo, Daddy, I don't know. I can't read it, I can't understand. If it was, this is Hausa, okay. I don't speak Hausa, unfortunately, I can read that. But someone has translated what you've written, Ishmael Awini, roughly to mean that the beginning is always sweeter than the end. Thanks very much for your message. And Raymond Eduse from Kumasi, you say that I think Ghana should not only rely on hydropower, but should try other alternatives like wind and solar to provide better services to the consumer. So I'll come to you and we'll talk about that later. Richmond Bana says that thank God for this Bui project. We all concerned Ghanaians hope that the Bui power will start supplying power to Ghanaians in the stated period. Can we see the pictures of the Bui City plan as well? Well, we don't have the pictures of the Bui City plan. When we do, we will bring them to you. We'll try and scoop out some photographs from our files and we'll show them when we get them. And Jiwa, you say that, hi Steve, is the Bui City still a component of the Bui project? And please, I want to know whether the Bui Dam will be managed by a different entity apart from VRA, or be managed by a different entity and not VRA. Land valuation, crop rates are supposed to be the basis for negotiation, but many a time land valuation put it as the final rate to cheat farmers. How was that done at Bui? And Alukus from Tamale says that how many megawatts of energy will the Bui Dam be able to produce annually? Alukus, if you were listening, we said that the Bui Dam is expected to provide 400 megawatts. Is this annually? The megawatts will be monthly or quarterly? The 400 megawatts.
Yeah, that's what we are providing in entirety.
In total?
Yeah, but that will have to be stepped down. We wouldn't be able to give all out. It has to be at a go, yeah. Okay,
so this one, same from Aluko, says that, please, can you ask your guest what necessitated the road diversion? And also let us know the road diverted from where to where. You mentioned that you constructed a bridge.
Yes.
Where was the bridge? Originally, was that the road, or you had to divert the road?
We are linking two communities.
Originally, was there a link between the two communities?
They had a fruit bridge that was not very good enough.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And now that the water that will be gushing out there is huge, you could lose lives.
So you didn't exactly divert the road.
There was a road diversion at some point in time due to the construction. Okay. And so these are some of the extras that has come in terms of price contingency of the project. Okay,
and then Jiwa and Richmond Bagna are asking of the Bui City plan.
Yeah.
What's the status of the Bui City plan, and what exactly is it?
Well, the Bui City plan, or the Bui city development, as someone would call it, is actually an idea that has been hatched. It's not part of the main works as of now. The main work of the Bui Power Authority is to manage, supervise, and to construct the dam and to run it thereafter. So any other plants could come up in terms of irrigation, aquaculture, and then many other things. So the Bui City plan. But you know, with the establishment of the university in the Brong-Ahafo region, we could give room to some of this new development, and then give avenue to private sector participation, and etc. So these are in the long term. They do not actually concern the authority. They are not under for now.
The main priority
is to build the dam running and generating 400. Yeah, and I heard one text I was asking whether it's going to be run by us or VIA.
Yes.
Yeah, government has given us
the mandate
to run it.
So it will not be VRA.
No.
We've said it clear,
yeah,
so it will not be VRA. And another message from David Mensah says, let me set the record here. The workers at Bui Dam are treated like animals, and bribery is an issue too. It is not true that they have paid 1.1 million to farmers. I'm a native, and I know the curse this project has brought to us. Let's tackle this. You said that you've spent about 1.1 million in resettlement packages.
Yeah.
This includes payment to farmers as well.
Yeah.
And how did you evaluate how much you have to pay them? Do you do a proper evaluation of their lands?
Yes. As I said, the land valuation of the Lands Commission actually have been on to the various farms. They've actually evaluated everything together with us paying a supervisory role, with the farmers also engaged, showing us this is my acre of land, and then that has been well captured and documented. And indeed, from some of the pictures I brought you, you could see that we've paid compensation to these farmers. But then I said this compensation covers those who have been affected by the construction site, those whose crops have been destroyed, and then those who had to move as well.
And there's the allegation that the workers are treated like animals, and bribery is an issue too. I mean, if you were allocating houses, you were allocating a 2-bedroom house to somebody who was living in a mud house, for example, that would be very competitive, and that people can do underhand dealings to get the properties ahead of others. Well, how have you managed that?
Well, we aren't giving favoritisms to anything. The distribution of houses has to do with the size of your family. If you had
a family of six or 8,
then you have about 2 or 3 houses. You can't live in that small house. And then also, what's important is that we give some parameters for them to actually have any further development addition
on their own at their own cost.
Yes. So that also has been done. Talking about the maltreatment of workers, there's not one that I've heard of, but as I said,
but you told me that you don't speak for Sino Hydro,
yes, as I said,
which employs a majority of the people.
So I was coming to that
point. If you say that none you've heard of, then it means that there are things you've heard you've never told us about.
Yeah, I'm making the point that there's none I've heard of as an employee or working for BPA. From the Sino Hydro part, they would be able to better respond to some of these concerns. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then this one doesn't have a name. You're saying, considering the level now, does it mean that the dam will be staffed during the dry season when finally in full operation? I reckon that it's saying that when there is a dry season, we should expect the same problems that the Akosomo Dam has had over the years.
No, we only pray that we rely greatly on God. But then
you rely on God to supply the water? Well, or you are putting in mechanisms to ensure that we'll get constant supply of water?
That's why we are having the saddle dams, which is serving as a reservoir for the main dam. So we've just finished with Saddle Dam 1, and we started work on the Saddle Dam 2. And what I said was that river empowerment or harvesting of rains for the running of the dam started in 2011 June, and then as we speak now, we have 169.98 meters above sea level, as I told you. The minimum operating level is 168 meters above sea level, and then the maximum operating level is 183 meters above sea level. That we need for generation.
Right. Akorogo from Ejura says that, please, is it true that a human-like animal, a strange creature, was caught from Bui Dam and sent to China? There were a lot of rumors circulating on the internet of a strange creature which was captured
absolutely not true. That's a figment of someone's imagination just to create some confusion in the minds of people. It's absolutely not true. Nothing of that sort.
But why would anybody like to create confusion of this nature? Create panic and scare so the residents will move out of the enclave?
I don't know the purpose of that.
Okay. And then Kwabena says that, did I hear him say the resettlement is 100% catered for? Ask him about livelihood, the national park destruction by foreigners, the worshipping places, and the careless environments. There are people who have churches and mosques
Yeah.
in these areas. Were they reconstructed?
Yeah, that has not currently been done yet. As for us, we do not want to have a hiding as to how these things are built. But we have some we've been doing some consultations with the religious leaders. Indeed, as part of the resettlement, some shrines and things were moved as well. So for the churches, the building of the churches, we're in consultation with the religious leaders and opinion leaders of the communities to see. For us, we would always have some hand to extend to them as a support, because you have moved them from their original churches. So we are actually doing everything.
Right, thank you very much. Maweli Fui Kwajovia, Assistant External Relations Officer at the Bui Power Authority. We were unable to reach Guzi Tano, who we were expecting to join us on phone. He couldn't make it. In any case, we're grateful to you for making time with us. Thanks for sending in your text messages and your comments. Join us again tomorrow for another interesting edition of PM Express. Good night.